Women Who Rock with Success is a digital media brand for professional women. Our platform offers opportunities to expand the performances of women within our media sources. Our platform include media TV, digital podcasting, and printed media. Genres for women include business and marketing, cooking, health and fitness, fashion and interior designing, sports, travel, and policy and government. Women Who Rock with Success is ready to brand your model of business and entertainment for success.
So good morning and welcome to Women Who Rock with Success. This is your host, Miss Diane Winbush, and thank you for tuning in to our first episode of the day. We have several episodes, but we have an interesting guest that's in the studio today, and she's going to ignite us. And so that's what we need, right? We're around here around the Thanksgiving time, Christmas time, and then we got to worry about what all that we have spent. So we need an ignitement before the 2023. So to be able to help us a little bit more with igniting your extraordinary, we welcome to the studio today, Miss Rita Ernst. So good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Diane. That was such a beautiful introduction. So I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about you. This is the topic of our show today. It is ignite the extraordinary. And that's something that we perhaps maybe don't even know that we have, but we have to find the right tools to be able to, they used to take a match and strike it on a brick long time ago in the Western days and things in order to ignite a fire. So tell us a little bit about you and tell us why you felt that this was something that you wanted to be able to do for perhaps women or men and women.
Well, it definitely is men and women, although I attract a lot of women. A lot of my clients are women, and I think we just relate to one another in different ways. But at the foundation, I mean, you're so wonderful at zeroing in. We're on the same wavelength because I do believe all of us have extraordinary living inside of us. And it's just a question of whether or not you're tapping in.
Right.
Do you recognize, like you said, do you recognize, your zone of genius, your superpowers, and are you bringing those into the world? And for some people that happens in their family life, and some people that happens in their community service or in their religion. And for other people, it happens in their work. For me, it happens to be in the work sphere is the place where I really have my extraordinary moments. And so when I was building out my business and deciding what to call it, it's naming a business, that's a big deal. And I knew that what I wanted to do, which has always been my purpose, is to meet people where they are and just help them, leave them a little bit better for having done our work together or having communicated together or whatever it would be. It's always leave people in a better place. And I chose Ignite Your Extraordinary because I wanted that conversation starter. I wanted people to go, what's that about? Just to really capture curiosity first that would, lead to a conversation. And so most people don't dismiss. Most people are like, that's a really interesting name. Tell me more about that. But the idea really is to be in community with somebody for whatever given period of time it is, and really helping them level up and find that next gear for themselves that really is grounded in not what they think they should do or what other people tell them they should do, but really standing in their personal strength and excellence.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Wonderful. So we're going to go to the corporate America side of things. Some of our women, or most, or probably about 75% of our women are corporate America women. So we're going to talk about that, about igniting the extraordinary with there. We had one guest back here, I don't know, probably about 4 years ago. And so, a lot of times individuals may go through some things with their supervisors and what have you. So she ended up losing her job, corporate America, making, bukus of cash and wealth. And she found out one day that she didn't have a job anymore. She's very popular today, 3 or 4 years later. I guess I would say that the termination probably did her better than it did, do worse to her. So how would you suggest for women that perhaps maybe receive that bad news? Especially, around these times and stuff too, people are laying off. We've heard about the tech giants and what have you, Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Twitter, a lot of things are going on there. People are kind of in a lot of depression and what have you. And I think it was 11,000 that was laid off from Facebook. So we're in the corporate America world, a couple of tips that you would like to give, or could you give to women in that area too, as to how to keep it moving? Because that's what she did. She did not let that prevent her. Okay, you fired me today, and I think it was another slogan her first slogan that she came out after the termination was "Boss in Heels." And it was so fabulous. And her name is Heather Monahan. And so she was one of our guests. And so tell us about that critical point as to how it's important to just pick up the heels or pick up the briefcase and just keep it moving.
So Diane, my background is psychology. I'm a psychologist by training.
Okay.
And so when I'm working in businesses, one of the things that we're always working on is our thinking, our mindset. People talk about mindset, but really, how are we thinking about things? Because most of the time, except when we're like triggered into fight or flight syndrome,
right,
we think before we act.
Right.
There are thoughts and processing that leads up to then our reaction or our response to a situation. And so I know your listeners have heard this trick before, but if you are there are tons of people that have been laid off or are under that threat of the umbrella of getting laid off. These are the words I want you to say to yourself every day. I want you to go look in the mirror and say to yourself, I get to choose a new job.
Wow.
Not I have to find a new job. I have to find a new job is that weight, that just carrying this monkey on your back. I want you to stand tall, roll your shoulders back and say, I get to choose a new job. Because when you take that mindset of this is my choice, this is my moment, you're claiming this moment. Instead of being a victim in this moment, you are claiming this moment for yourself. And then the next question is, so I get to choose, what do I want to choose? And that is, as you know, can be a difficult journey for some people.
Sure.
A lot of people tell you what you should do. I see this. I've got a college age daughter and a high schooler that's going to start looking at colleges next year. And so we've been in that situation right now where tons of people have advice. Well, you should get a degree in this and you should do this and you should forget the shoulda, coulda, woulda stuff people tell you.
Right.
You really got to think about what fills my cup? What am I doing that really, and a great technique, a good friend of mine we used to run workshops together, and this was one of the opening get to know you exercises she would do. And it's this question: assume that you had enough money, like you won the lottery or something, and you had enough money that you would not have to work for the next 5 years. And you could do anything that you wanted. Name 3 things that you would do. And when you do that, you tend to answer that question, and the answers fall into 3 categories. The first thing you answer is typically something that is like really out there, like your big dream of life, right? The second thing you answer tends to be from a more humanitarian place. It's that thing that really does drive you internally, that you care about deeply creating in the world. And then the third thing you choose is typically the safe option. Okay. And you can do this question and people not knowing that, and then it falls into that category. But, so it's like, if you could dream as big as you could, where would you go? Like maybe you want to sit with that idea for a while. But when you get to the next one, it's probably something that you are very passionate about. Mm-hmm. And following your passion and finding a pathway to make money and a living and live in your passion is the place where most of us want to be.
Okay. Okay, wow, that's awesome. So, and so would that be some of the, okay, so let's go to the initial intake process. So with what you offer for women, and so as she stated, this is psychology, this is psychotherapy, this is a mental, you have to grow with this mind, you have to change. And that was so awesome of the description, that an example that you look, I get to choose. You terminated me, but I get to choose. And so, with that phrase and with that mindset, to me, that's given the authority back to me. Even though you may have
Yes.
terminated me, but this look, I'm still in control. I'm still in authority. You have not taken anything away from me. I still have the right to make my own decisions. That is powerful. So when a viewer, listener, customer, client comes to Rita, Ignite Extraordinary, take us through some of the initial intakes, just a couple of steps, 2 or 3 steps that you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience as to what they could to be able to expect. Because a lot of times, Rita, people come to us and then we find out later, oh, you're not a match. Okay, you're just coming to me for another purpose, but the more I work with you, you're not clicking on. This is not getting it. You're not getting into what I'm trying to be able to help strategize you with. And so I think that is very important when individuals are coaching, or when they have a psychologist type of firm or what have you, a psychology type of agency, and we're trying to help others and trying to help them to be able to be better in their mindset, business, family, relationship, and what have you. The important thing about it is making sure, I was just telling this individual just a couple of days ago, wait a minute, I think it was last night. Wait, hold on for a second. I need to find out, are we a match first? That's very, very important. So talk to us a little bit about that as to what you offer for your clients.
I could not agree with you more, Diane. It's so amazing that we have such different experiences in the workplace, and yet we are so clearly aligned in our thinking. The first thing that I do is a complimentary session with a potential client for exactly that reason, because chances are, if I'm not the right person to work with you, like sales generation, that's not my thing. So if what you're really focused on is, I need to figure out how to get better at sales generation, we can do some mindset thinking, all that kind of stuff. But if you really want somebody to give you the roadmap and the tools of, these are the, do these 5 things and you'll generate more sales, that's not me. But I know somebody that does that work.
Right.
That I really trust, that I know gets real results. Let me refer you. So it's important to feel that connection. People need to experience me, and I want to know. And it's when you put the word extraordinary in the name of your business, that's what you have to deliver.
Right.
You can't have reviews that say, well, she was a nice woman, it was okay. You need raving fans, right? Raving fans of your work. So it's very important. And whether I'm working with an individual or whether I'm working with a team or an entire organization, the first place is always going to be assessment. Let's understand what's going on, and more importantly, let's understand the vision of where you want to be. Because until you get this, people only change for 2 reasons. Okay. They only change because they can't stand where they are anymore. Like, they're in so much pain that they have to change, or because there is something so attractive that they are willing to do the work to achieve it.
Right.
Moving from a place of pain is not a fun place to be. I would rather help people have that vision that is so enticing and exciting, right? That they want to reach for. I don't want to help them to just run away from what they don't like. Right. I want to help them reach for something that's so much bigger. And so I really take time to understand each person in that 45-minute, first a complimentary session, and give them a chance to experience me, so we can have a real conversation about whether or not our relationship working together would be on the right path. And it's okay when I'm not the right fit. It's good to know where you can make an impact, and to know what business you're in and what business you are not in, because trying to be everything to everybody doesn't work.
Right, right. Absolutely. I think it was individual. They were an influencer or something like that a few years ago on LinkedIn, and so all of us want to assume that we are impacting and we're unpacking a relevant tool to everybody. And so when I wanted to connect, I think, with this influencer, and I thought I was just what I had was just as good as what she was doing too. And so, but she came back and she said, thank you so much for sending me the invite, but I just don't think that we're a good fit. And so later on, Rita, I learned that everyone is not a good match for, I don't care what you are offering to people. You still may not be the same good match to the next entrepreneur, the next professional, the next actor, the next fashion designer. You may not be the same. And so once we understand that, that's the main thing. We have to understand it. We don't get offended with, oh, well, I think that I, could have fit on her scale or what have you and stuff. No, everybody has a different type of niche. They have a different type of strategy. People want to feel a certain way, I guess, especially when they're an influencer, trying to influence others. And so I was okay with that. It took me a while now. It took me a while. But then after that, probably about a couple of months down the road, I was okay with that. Okay.
I've met some women who said to me, I wish I could work with you. I would love to work with you. I am still paying off my debt from the last business coach that I hired that didn't get me the results they promised. I mean, anybody who just is a come one, come all, my solution works for everybody. Move forward with trepidation. There are a lot of people that are new entrepreneurs that are still figuring out who their solution is for. And they will call themselves a coach and they will say, I can do it for anybody, but they're not coaching. They're giving you a solution and they're teaching you how to use it. That is really not what the coaching field is about. Right. And just be very wary about the one size fits all solutions. And that's part of the reason I customize everything. So I don't have a program. I don't have a set program or package. Everybody doesn't read the same leadership books and do the same activities. I'm going to design something that is specific to whatever that vision is you told me where you want to be and the journey it's going to take to get from where you are now to that place. And if I try to do that as a I don't understand one size fits all solutions. I've had people say, oh, you need to write a course and put it out on the internet and you can make all of this passive income. And it's like, I don't even know what that looks like, because in my mind, it's such a personal journey. And I'm not trying to become a millionaire. I'm just trying to do what I love, make a real difference in people's lives, and earn money for my life and my family. But I'm not trying to get rich in my business and become something bigger than who I am. So I'm okay with just being able to serve, the clients one at a time the way I do. It's
right. You want to make sure, or you're trying to ensure that people are matching. Then everybody's not getting mixed up in the shuffle. Sometimes people, yes, when they're putting out these master classes, they're for free. Especially we see them on LinkedIn, we see them on Instagram, we see them on Facebook, and then they click on it. It's free, and when people click on it, and then they find out, oh, okay, then I'm going to get this question. I'm going to get this nugget out of here, this nugget. No. You're in the right classroom when you get all of the nuggets from the specific coach and what have you. And so I like that, Rita. You customize whatever it is that your clients need according to what it is where they're trying to go. Because, look, that irritates me. Look, if you don't know where you're going, you want to monetize, okay? You want to do this, but where are you going? That's the reason why. That's one of the questions that I asked some of the actors. What is I think we had a guy on here last couple of weeks ago from MTV. Okay, where you want to be in 5 years? You have to have a goal that is set. And so that's the reason why I think it's very, very important. As you stated, you're not trying to get rich, and if the others are trying to get rich, kudos to them too. But you're doing yourself and the client a disservice. You're not meeting all of that individual's needs. You're not sitting down with them. You're just having, master programs, you're doing sponsors on Facebook, you're out there, you seem like you're growing, your email list is growing and what have you, but sometimes people get lost in the shuffle like that, I think, Rita. I do. I really think people get lost, and then like you stated, okay, I just got through shoveling out all of this money for this other coach, and I still don't have all that I need. I still have something.
Right.
And that's
yeah, I mean,
they're in the
I really don't ever want that to be a statement after somebody has worked with me.
Right.
That really bothers me. That's not leaving somebody better than where I found them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's the next question. We're gonna go to a scenario where you have been asked to speak at a TEDx speaking platform, in your area, or we'll say it may be out of town. We're going to even say it's international. We're going to send an invite to Rita Ernst, and she's going to do a hour and 15-minute segment on TEDx.
It's never that long, Diane. That's the whole thing about TEDx. They have to be short and sweet and punchy.
Okay. So we'll cram it down. We'll say 15 minutes. We'll go there. So what would be some of the takeaways that you would expect your audience to go home? See, now, as I stated, on some of my shows, a lot of times people go, we're going to go to this event because, they're giving trinkets away. They're giving packages away or what have you and things, but the people don't never take away the message. They don't take home the message of what the speaker brought to the table. So what would you expect your audience to be able to take away from you if you were asked to speak on that platform? What would be some of the takeaways that you would want your readers, listeners, or what have you to be able to take away from a message entitled Ignite Your Extraordinary?
Well, I'm actually pitching right now, pitching TEDx, and it's not Ignite Your Extraordinary, it's the book, Show Up Positive.
Okay.
And but they move together very well. But I think the key messages I'm always wanting people to understand, and we've talked about some of those already, is one, don't give up your agency. You have the ability to create the world around you. That's agency, to influence and change things to be what they want. So use your agency. Choose agency over victimhood. It's that flip that we just talked about. I get to choose versus I have to. You choose agency over victimhood. That would be number one. Number two would be, there's so much good in the world. Train your brain to recognize it. Our brains are actually trained to scan for problems.
Right.
Fear, negativity, right? Those things, that's our fight or flight system. That's like the most oldest part of our biology. That's what we're trained to do, but you can retrain your brain. There's so many good things in the world. When you choose to start noticing that people are expressing gratitude, that people are being helpful, that people are being kind, that when you start to look for those acts in your interaction, in your experiences with people, you start to give your mind something to focus on besides the thing that upset you or made you mad, or that difficult exchange that you had with somebody. Right. And so we know that it takes 8 or more positive interactions or experiences to overcome one negative interaction. So at work, if you get into an argument with a coworker over something, how long and how deeply that impacts the interpersonal exchange with that person is completely dependent on your bank account. Do you have a lot of good exchange and deposits there where that's fine, or do you not? And so it's going to put you in a deficit position where you're going to hang on to that anger longer because you don't have enough good. But there's a lot of good to notice. And you know what? When you start to notice more good, you start to bring more good yourself. And when you start to bring more good, you start to notice more good. So you can create this upward spiral of positive experiences just simply by choosing what you pay attention to and then manifesting more of that because you're doing that.
Okay, great. That's fair enough. So this is something that came from, I guess, a previous guest, and so I think she was an author, and she had wrote some sort of sequel. I said, well, and I encouraged her even on the show. I said, well, what about this? Well, let's go with this title and do chapter 2 or episode 2 or storyline 2. So we know that you provide a lot for men and women for your clients and what have you, to be able to keep them poised on the right path so they can be successful. So what would you like for your next chapter to be able to look like? I think that's what she was an author, this other guest, and that's what I was asking her. What would be the next sequel that she would like to write to continue it? Because, as I share with a lot of the individuals that are on the show, COVID has opened up, it has been sad in some instances, but it has opened up a lot of doors for professionals as well. So, if you write something with here, you can be able to continue it on after COVID or after the pandemic or what have you. That's what I kind of offer for the medical professionals. So what would you would like for your next chapter to look like, even while you're helping men and women to be able to succeed? There are still doors that we can be able to continue to open. Even if we're trying to encourage, ignite, we're trying to lift them, making sure that they're impacted and making sure that their business has success. So what would be one of the chapters that you would like to extend, probably next 5 or 10 years, that you would like to see for your coaching business?
I am in the middle of that right now. And I actually came up with that vision and decided to pursue that. And like the first step was this book, writing this book, Show Up Positive. So I had the privilege of working with essential workers during the early 20s and 21 pandemic, when things were shut down. A lot of office workers and stuff were sent home, but there were healthcare workers, retail people, construction, restaurants. There were a lot of businesses that were still trying to operate during that time. And you would think, well, they would have it easy, right? They're just going into the same place every day. But it was like the Alice in Wonderland version of the place that they knew, because the rules were all different. You know, you had to do temperature checks. You had to do all this extra sanitizing. You had to maintain social distance. You couldn't sit in the break room and chat. You know, I mean, there were just all kinds of things. The social structure fell apart. And when the social structure fell apart, the negativity filled the void. And so I went in and developed processes with these clients that are replicatable to some extent. They still require a lot of finesse, but to really help people tap back into that culture that they care about, remember what that's like, and start showing up in ways that invite that to displace all that negativity and to rebuild that social in a different way and get back to that place where we have respect and camaraderie and caring and trust. And I don't think that's, I mean, I think we've heard all this conversation about toxic cultures that emerged out of the pandemic. And this is something that I was like, I actually have a way to help people deal with this. And so I am on a journey to create a Show Up Positive movement that takes over businesses across our nation and across the globe, that really empowers the employees to understand that the experiences they have within their team and amongst their peer group on a day-to-day basis, that is the foundation of their culture. It is not what somebody in the ivory tower says or thinks or wants. You get to start at your own little local level and create the culture that you want. And when you have a good, solid culture that is filling your cup, you will be performing at an extraordinary standard. And then the higher ups are going to notice that, and they're going to say, how do we replicate that other places? But we got to get out of that victim story. I'm always get out of your victim story. So get out of the victim story that I'm trapped by the horrible culture that Elon Musk has created at Twitter. Or, I mean, yes, I mean, he's creating a tremendous impact, but you still have the power within your team to say, okay, we have this new environmental factor called Elon Musk. What can we do to countermand that? How can we not lose sight of who we are? And how can we stay true to who we want to be, and let's stand together and make that happen. So I am on that mission. The next chapter is for me is to be the author of the Show Up Positive movement and to really bring this new insight to workers and leaders at every level about what culture can be and how you can really give power to each, not just give, but acknowledge the power that each individual has as an architect of the culture, and use their ability to your advantage,
Right.
instead of dismissing or discounting that ability.
Okay, wonderful. So, with the last question, Rita, first of all, we'd like to thank you for being our guest on today. And then we would not leave the studio without you sharing with the readers, with the listeners and viewers, how they can be able to connect with you. Any social media handles or sites that you would like to share with them. And of course, you can be able to share with them any publications that you are publishing where they can be able to go and find them. And then any upcoming speaking engagements, you can be able to do all of them at this time.
That's a lot of opportunity. Thank you. So the first place I'm going to send you is my website, igniteextraordinary.com. It has all my social link connections. So it's like a great one-stop shop. When you land on that site, there is a place right away for you to fill out a contact form to request a meeting if you would like to learn more about what I do. There's some explanation on my services and stuff. There's also a tab called Show Up Positive that gives all the information about the book, and there is a class that I offer called the Teams Accelerator, Show Up Positive Accelerator. It includes, I didn't grab it with me, I wish I would have, this fabulous 24 card deck of, it's like a job aid and an inspiration piece that you can use to really help you be more effective in meetings and in team engagement. So there's 24 Show Up Positive behaviors there, and some mindset questions to work on, as well as ways to engage with other people. And so that's like a 1 hour intimate training with me, where I really help you get started on your Show Up Positive journey. So all of that is available on my website. I am the Positivity Influencer. So when you look up Rita Ernst on LinkedIn, it's Positivity Influencer, easy to find. And then on other social, I'm at Ignite Extraordinary, which is the same as the website. And the book, so one more time, this is the book, Show Up Positive. It is written for the non-reader. There's a TLDR at the end of every chapter. It's written in snippets where if you just have 10 minutes on the subway, you could read and you could get some little nugget for the day in that 10-minute, 5 minutes coffee break. You could pick a positive spark in the back of the book and read through it and get some inspiration for a way that you could show up more positive in your day, just by how you choose the things that you do. So that book is in international distribution. You can buy it through Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or your local bookseller will be able to get it as well. It's I know it's selling internationally because I have friends on LinkedIn who are buying it. So it's a pretty easy to find, and it's only $15.99. So I keep saying to my friends, like, that holiday exchange thing that you're doing at work that you have to have a gift under $20 for. This is a gift that your coworker or your boss or somebody would love to get. And I did a funny little post. It's like you could do the voodoo doll, stabbing the voodoo doll for the bad manager that you have, or you could gift them this book for $17. And I don't know. I'm just hoping maybe the book might work out better. So
it's so comical. Okay. Oh, you are so
to end on something fun. Maybe we should have started there, Diane. People would have listened longer.
That's okay. So they probably doing it anyway. Okay. You probably just ignited it. Oh, okay. One more thing. I forgot it. I have
another one. That's a a Grinch, you know, for the
Okay.
Grinch on your list, you know. But help me, listeners, please. Let's create show up positive workplaces. You can be the superhero of your workplace. You don't have to wait to be rescued, because you can do that for yourself.
Absolutely.
And if you need some help, hit me up. I'm happy to offer help. And
okay, great, wonderful. Rita, thank you once again for being with us, and hopefully that you'll be willing to return 2023 so we can be able to do an update and follow up with you. I enjoyed talking.
yes, yeah, there'll be another book coming out, and
that will be awesome. And then also we can kind of get some testimonies or something like that from some of the readers that have, you know, and then just, hopefully we can be able to connect. I enjoyed working with you today.
I did too. And you know what, Diane, you need to send me your address. I'll send you a signed copy of the book, and so that way when I come back, you know, you'll.
Okay, wonderful, great. Okay, so listeners, follow us at 10 o'clock back over to our audio version, Women Who Rock with Success Media, and then also meet us at 11 o'clock at the same station, same back time, same station. So thank you so much for being with us again, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully in 2023.